We are finally hearing from CNN's Chris Cuomo about his brother's resignation as governor of New York and the so-called advice he gave him. Here's what he said on his show last night.
I wasn't in control of anything. I was there to listen and offer my take. And my advice to my brother was simple and consistent. Own what you did. Tell people what you'll do to be better. Be contrite. And finally, accept that it doesn't matter what you intended. What matters is how your actions and words were perceived. I did urge my brother to resign when the time came. I tried to do the right thing, and I just want you all to know that.
Wow. Okay, so Jeff, what do you make of what Chris said about his brother?
I think he definitely capitalized during the Trump administration, he and his brother, on going on every night. It almost seemed like they had their own show, and it was kind of setting up his brother to almost run for president at the time. Like, that's how impactful that was.
Definitely.
At the same time, I really appreciate the apology. I thought it was sincere. I thought it was honest. I appreciate the advice that he gave. And it's like, really, what can you do? I understand you don't pick your family, right? He didn't do anything wrong in that sense. So he's like, listen, I told my brother, I gave him my advice, and he was honest about it. So I got to accept that as well.
The only thing he did wrong was waiting, I think, a little too long, and maybe CNN had told him not to speak out about it. Everybody just wanted him to acknowledge it because he's acknowledged all the faults of Trump and all these things. Then say it about your own family at the same time. Really glad he said it. Totally get the apology. Wish they'd not have such a close-up on him at all times. He's very intense.
That's his signature close-up.
I don't like how he's like, I'm Chris Cuomo.
Face recognition. But you know what, Tori, I would just say about the speaking out, maybe he literally couldn't. As people that work on a show, if somebody's been accused of something, we have to make sure, they say in our ear all the time, allegedly, you can't just come out and be like, hey, y'all, my brother did it.
No, right,
and
right.
There might be a criminal investigation you don't know. So I don't think he can do that. I think, like you said, Jeff, when you're on a pedestal and you bring somebody else, whether it's your brother or your wife, whoever you're bringing up there too, you're kind of vetting them and you're saying, hey, they're with me. So almost like the mafia, like if you bring them into the family, if they mess up, it's going to come back on you too. And I think we just saw it.
Yeah, and you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I think he handled this perfectly. Could he have done it earlier? Yes. Could he have somehow maybe brought his brother on the show and really addressed it? Of course. And people have said that. Why can't you bring him on the show now?
It's a criminal proceeding.
Right.
Or at least.
That makes sense, but I'm just addressing exactly specifically what our viewers had said. But the fact that he said he needs to own it, he needs to acknowledge it, he could have easily defended his brother. He could have easily not brought it up at all. So I think in this case with Chris, not his brother, we got to give credit where credit's due.
And he's also working on a network. He's not running a podcast where he could just jump out and say, hey, this is what my brother said. He's working for a network, which means he has people above them, and he's like, they want to be very precise about how he said what he said. You know?
That's right.
Yep.